Guys, how are you? Today I wanted to talk to you about your self-portrait project. So over the past 2 weeks, we have been studying facial features, eyes, noses, and mouths in preparation for this project. So I'm going to go over some options with you. You have a lot of options, which is really fun. And you can kind of combine some of the options or techniques that I'm going to present to you into something, make it your own. Make it something that you're super excited about doing. As far as medium goes, anything is good, really. Whatever you have at home, mixed media, you can combine paint with drawing, colored pencils, regular pencils. If you want to go back to some of the techniques we learned with cross-hatching, if you have pens, colored pens, like those fun gel pens, whatever you have is good, okay? So I'm going to go over the slideshow with you right now. Give you some examples and some ideas, and then you're kind of on your own to figure out the best creative solution to the design problem, which is a self-portrait. Okay, so self-portrait, your choice. On the following slides, you will see an assortment of creative solutions to the concept of self-portrait, and you're going to select one project to complete. Right now, the goal is to have it done by May 15th. If that's not possible, or if you're finding that it's difficult to do that, I would just ask that by May 15th, you at least post a progress photo of how far you have come in the past 2 weeks. And if you need more time, then of course you are more than welcome to it. So gridding, it's a technique where you divide a photo reference image into a grid using measurements, and then you would also draw the same grid on your final surface paper or sketch paper, and then transfer it to a final surface to make sure that your proportions and everything are accurate. So it's a really good way to create an accurate drawing. You need a ruler and a pencil to do it. At the end of the slideshow, I'm going to show you a really cool website that will help you do it digitally as well. So this is a technique that could be used in any of the projects, so it's something to keep in mind. So the first one, if any of you guys were in Art Fundamentals, which I think 5 of you were, right? Erase my face. We did do this last year as a sketchbook assignment. So you would take a photo of yourself, either erasing your face or holding up like a pencil or some sort of drawing or art tool to your face. Then you can print it out, and what you would do is cut off like half or 2/3 of your face. You would want to do like one eye, half of your nose, half of your mouth, and you could cut that out in any way that you want. You could do a bunch of circles, you could just do it half and half. You could do, some kind of crazy curvy line, whatever you want. And then you would just draw in the erased part of your face. So here's some other examples. This artist used pen and ink to complete theirs. They did include more of their shirt. It's really important though that you do include like your hand holding whatever tool you're using. Let's see, what do I have here? Ooh, here's a pencil. So I would take a picture, like maybe I'm looking at the pencils, it's drawing my face or whatever, and make sure you include that art tool. These are examples from students of mine from last year. Keep in mind, background should be filled in with something interesting. Your background should be filled in with something, be it just a gradient, a value of some kind, or you could do some patterns or something fun in the background. It's up to you. Color, whatever. Expressive self-portraits, using a filter if you want. I know you guys like to play with filters on Instagram or Snapchat or whatever, so if you wanted to incorporate one of those into a self-portrait, go for it. Have fun with this, okay? So you could make a crazy or exaggerated face. You could have, like those, like the funny ones that kind of squish your face or stretch your face and make you look really weird, or just like the pretty ones that add cute little ears or flowers or whatever it is. For this piece, you can use the gridding method as well to help you draw it accurately. And of course, any medium will do. Mom. You could do something where you do just pencil for like the realistic part of your face, and then use a colored medium for the fun filter parts. Here, these are just done with pencil. Up to you how you want them to look. In this one, we have one of the melty, like squishy face filters. And then these ones I thought were kind of cool because it was famous paintings that they added Snapchat filters to. So kind of mixing in that technology with a traditional art form. Self-portraits, of course, are a very traditional thing. Artists are doing them all the time since, you know, the beginning of time. Artists half and half, sort of similar to the Erase My Face, but it can be something as simple as just posing, taking a photograph, cutting it in half. You could cut it in half diagonally with like a curvy line. You could even do like strips across and do like every other strip, up to you, or strips up and down, it's up to you. Again, any sort of medium is fine, any style, whatever. So you can also just do a very traditional self-portrait where we use the gridding method if that's something that you feel like you need to use. Many artists use this technique. Chuck Close, which we did learn about this year, is famous for using that. He always said, you know, you break it down into one small section and then it doesn't become such an overwhelming problem. So something we can all use as a life lesson, right? So you can use the grid method to draw your self-portrait. You just divide your reference photo into a grid, divide your paper into the same grid, just slightly larger dimensions. And then you would just draw your portrait. Again, any medium, choice of color, it's up to you. And then with this gridding, you could go super simple and traditional where it's just a beautiful pencil drawing. You could add color, you could use paint, whatever you want. You can also go patterny, where you could fill in almost like what Chuck Close does with the different patterns to create gradients. So I would say that keep your face sort of realistic, and then you could add some fun stuff to like hair and background and stuff like that. You could also go fantastical, turn yourself into something else in some parts of those grids. So here we have sort of a dragon creature popping out. So with this, you can go any number of directions. You can get as crazy and creative as you want, or also just keep it simple and elegant. It's totally up to you. Symbolic self-portrait, where again it goes with that half and half thing, but instead of drawing both sides of your face realistically, you would use symbols and imagery to tell the viewer more about you as a person. Like, what are you interested in? What are you passionate about? Maybe what are some of your emotions or feelings that you're feeling right now in this moment, you know, in April of 2020, right? So express yourself with this. The shapes of the various elements that you add could relate to the shapes of your face. So like she used a lemon where her eye would be. It's sort of a similar shape. So that's up to you how you want that to look. And then I had this epiphany this morning as well. Driving around town, seeing everyone, or walking around town, seeing everyone wearing masks. And it sort of makes you anonymous, right? Because all you can see is someone's face. I mean, someone's eyes. So how could we make that more personal? You know, some people have some cute masks with fun patterns that sort of say something about them if they had some cool fabric or whatever that they used. But how could you create an art piece exploring that? So I was thinking of take a photo of yourself wearing your mask, or maybe not wearing your mask, but then just drawing in the shape of a mask. And you could draw your portrait accurately with the details of the mask rendered accurately, like shading, texture, all of that, or just use the mask part of your face as a blank space to add personal imagery, symbols, text, or decorate it in a fun way. You know, make that more about who you are. And so this focus on this, the focus of this portrait would be more on your eyes and your hair, right? Because your nose and mouth would be covered by the mask. So here's some examples. Two of these are actually like large scale graffiti pieces on the wall, on walls. So this one has text involved. This one also has sort of a speech bubble, but you can see the details of the face covered by the mask. These are some like middle school student examples of sort of a similar concept. They were incorporating some digital components as well, but you know, coloring it with an interesting pattern or design. So these links are really helpful. I'm going to show you guys this website. My video tutorial of drawing a self-portrait using a grid. It's an excerpt from a video I did on a acrylic painting project. which you don't need the whole bit of this video. You need from about 7 minutes in. And then there's also 2 tutorials from the same instructor that did the eyes, nose, and mouth videos that we also watched. So this grid drawing tool, I'm just going to really quickly show you how that works. So this is another website that has a grid drawing tool on it as well, which I think might work better for you. So if you select the orientation of your photograph that you've taken, your reference photograph, it can either be portrait or landscape, and then your canvas size. There are not a ton of options. They're just sort of standard canvas sizes, but if you're just drawing on a regular piece of paper, 8x10 will work just fine for you. 16x20 is also the same proportion as that, but it's irrelevant. So the next step, upload your photo, and this is fine. I don't need to rotate it or anything. And then next step, I can crop the photo. So if I just draw, just draw on the picture, see how it's sort of constraining my proportions. So it won't let me get too tall or too skinny, so it will always be an 8x10. And then I can move it to accommodate my photograph, and then I can hit next step, and then I can establish how far apart in actual dimensions I want my grid. So I would probably leave it at 1 inch line thickness, and depending on the image, you can just select any color, whatever works best with your color. And then you hit download, and then you have an image that looks like this. So oh, the crop didn't save, my bad. So actually it should look like this if you saved your crop. So then you can print this out at any size. Like, let's say I go to file, print. I can print it out small, like this. And on my final paper, I would just draw an 8x10 inch square rectangle, divide it up into the same amount of squares for the grid. So it would be 8 squares and 10 squares, right? And then redraw it. So this website actually might work better for you guys. So definitely check that out. I did put this link at the top in your slideshow. I just added it. Okay, have fun. And that is your self-portrait project in a nutshell. Again, it's erase my face using a filter, Snapchat filter or whatever filter that you want. Have fun with it. Be expressive. Mixed media is fine. A half and half drawing, a gridded self-portrait. Again, you have some different options for how that turns out. And self-portrait with a mask. And you can have fun with adding color, designs, text, whatever you want to the mask part of that. Okay, so thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed this project, and I know that they're going to be successful because you guys practiced really hard on your eyes, mouths, and noses. So I'm looking forward to seeing how these turn out. Have fun and reach out with questions. Talk to you guys soon.